here for the Wednesday, March 9th, planning and zoning board meeting 2023. It is now 6:04 p.m. Okay, the roll call.
Alexander Cole,
Here.
Dan Lewinsky,
Here.
Mark Hum,
Here.
Evelyn Arcudio here, Ed LeBlanc,
Here.
Zaid Shamsi Basha,
Here.
Juan Cotton.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. Pledge of allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay. Do we have any additions, deletions, reporting and approval of the agenda? Any additions and deletions?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, approval of minutes of February 1st, 2023. Those in favor to approve the minutes, say aye. Okay, motion.
I move to approve the minutes of February first, 2023 regular meeting.
All second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, cases, of the swearing the staff and the applicants, if you are going to speak today on behalf of a project or speak period, we would like you to, please swear in. And over there.
Please stand and raise your right hand. If you plan to give testimony, do you swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a proof of publication for 1914 North Dixie?
It is included in the meeting pack.
Okay, and also for 1718 South Douglas Street.
Also included in the meeting pack.
All right, are there any withdrawals or postponements?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anything on consent for staff? No?
No.
Public hearings, any board disclosures, anyone spoken to anybody here the cases? Right? Unfinished business. There was something. No? What's going on here? Okay. New business, PZB project number 2300500001. Additional use permit. Request by Scooter Out at 1914 North Dixie Highway, the establishment of scooter sale facility designated as a motorcycle, moped, motor scooter, golf carts, rental and sale. Indoor only equipment rental and medium intensity vehicular uses. Use area at least is less than 7,500 square feet by LDR section 23(3)(6). The subject site is zone mixed use, Dixie Highway, UDH, and has a future land use designation, mixed use east. I'm sure these are comparable. So, would we like to get going on this?
Yes, good evening. I'm Abraham Full, and I will be presenting this item. So we will be reviewing a conditional use permit request for Scooter Ave at 1914 North Dixie Highway for the establishment of a scooter sales facility. The subject site is mixed use Dixie Highway and has a future land use designation of mixed use east. The proposal will have a use area of approximately 2,700 square feet. The subject site is on the southwest corner of North Dixie Highway and Vanderbilt Drive. The building is currently configured as a real retail space on the ground floor and an apartment on the second floor. The use will support a showroom with approximately 98% brand new scooters, parts, and accessories, and all uses related to the business will be indoors. The facility will operate Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's anticipated to have a maximum of 2 employees. The applicant has informed staff that deliveries of the scooter are generally once a week, and they are done with a pickup truck that delivers approximately 3 scooters at a time. Here we have the property survey shown on the screen. Parking is currently accommodated to the rear. That's on the right side of your screen. It accommodates about 2 spaces, and approximately 3 spaces are on street off of Vanderbilt Drive. It is staff's analysis that the conditional use permit is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the city's comprehensive plan and strategic plan, based on the information provided in the application and the analysis section of the staff report. The proposal complies as conditioned with the conditional use criteria outlined in LGR section 23.2-29. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation to have an approval subject to conditions. We have the potential motions on this slide and conditions of approval. We can go over the conditions of approval at this time. Otherwise, this concludes staff's presentation, and the applicant is with us tonight and can answer any questions.
We open the question. I'm trying to see,
Quick question, I thought you mentioned about the, second floor, there was a residential use on the second floor, I'm looking at the floor there.
It's
showing me a bunch
this
of-
angle, this is not a good angle. It's pushed back. It doesn't take, there's a big terrace that fronts Dixie Highway.
Okay,
So the habitable portion of the building is pushed back, so this angle doesn't show it very well.
so you actually can't even see it from there.
Yeah.
what is the signage? We have that in the,
Okay.
We do not have that proposed at this time. That will be subject to permitting consistent with,
Yes.
That's fine.
but they're mostly maybe looking at wall signs and window signs perhaps.
Second question, is the only reason why this is a conditional use is because this use is not specifically stated within the code as an allowable use?
It is stated in the code and by our use table, in this intensity or square footage category that they fall into, it's deemed a conditional use.
Okay, as a what?
It was in the title. It's a bit of a long title of motorcycle, moped, motor scooter, golf cart rentals and sales indoor only.
Oh, that's for use in
That's the,
commercial?
yeah, on
Okay.
title.
Okay, I thought that was there. Okay.
No,
All right, thank you.
So that's restricted for not having scooters on the outside or,
it's all indoor.
so usually, they use outside. That's not allowed.
Correct.
Right.
That would not be allowed here.
I have a question, just real quick. My question is about parking. I see that they're not having to change any parking and there's 2 spaces provided. Is staff comfortable if there's like parking on the street, on the adjacent street sufficient? To meet the use?
So our LDRs have a threshold, and actually a change of use like this would not trigger compliance with current parking regulations. So we're able to count what it's vested with, which is essentially those 2 spaces in the rear and the on-street that's adjacent. That's not only for their use, but we can count towards what they have.
So there is parking available on the adjacent streets.
There's 2 or 3 spaces off of Vanderbilt, abutting the proposed business.
Is it a, Vanderbilt, is it a residential or also a commercial street? I'm just not that familiar with that area.
So you kind of have that one block lining Dixie, that's commercial alley, and then College Park begins, which is all residential. So across the alley, see if we have a good view. Yeah,
Yeah, it's right. Yeah.
Right across.
And this was recently renovated.
Yeah, the window system looks really new.
Who's managing that residential? Is it a residential apartment? I'm assuming.
So I don't know if the applicant would know. I don't think the property owner is with us.
Okay, but it's,
I'm sorry to disturb,
Oh.
but yes, I'm here. I'm the landlord.
oh, okay.
My name is Gus Ramirez.
Hi, guys.
I'm willing to help with it and then try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. How's everyone doing this evening?
Yeah.
Awesome, great.
Yeah, state your name and, that's what it is.
Yes, my name is Gus Ramirez. I'm the owner of 1914 North Dixie Highway.
And your address is.
My home address, it's 1 Avenue South, Lakewood Beach, Florida. I'm a proud resident here in the city of Lakewood Beach, and we love Lakewood Beach. However,
How long have you been living here?
we've been living here probably approximately about 3 years. And we had bought some properties on Dixie Highway probably 6 years ago when it was affordable. And we fix all our properties, we do the same stuff, though, the same impact windows, we put granny rooms. We try to make them look, as nice as possible, bring them up to date. The building, we've owned it about 6 years. It is a residential up on the second floor, but it faces more towards the alleyway versus the east. So you don't see it from the front because there is like a patio that's about 2,000 square feet. It was a furniture store for about 2.5 years. And they were very successful. They grew so much that they had to open at 12,000 square feet a little further south. Basically,
So the store was basically, it had good foot traffic
yes,
Right.
yes.
and
Dixie Highway,
apparently
that's-
parking wasn't an issue for them.
No, parking was not an issue, but you can have 3 parking spots right to Vanderbilt to the north of the building. That nobody uses because right across the street on the other northeast corner, there's a plaza.
Mhm.
And they all have their own parking spots. And right there on the side of Vanderbilt, also they have 2 parking spaces also, besides the 3. You're welcome.
Are there any public comments? In the, that have been submitted?
No, we do not have any public comment on the topic.
It's a really good point. In the conditions of approval, there's a few conditions that they, the timeline for 6 months to get completed. One of them including a curb cut and fixing the driveway to look like under public works within 6 months, the existing driveway you're looking on the north side would be removed. Are you comfortable with that?
Okay, can I come up to the mic? Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yes, the tenant did tell me that there was a condition that the city may want for the sidewalk. Okay, the building was originally, when we bought it for many years, it was approved to have a garage. On the south side of the north side of the building, there was a garage. It's right there. The street is slanted right now because it was a garage and it had a ramp. When we put all impact windows, we asked that we didn't want to put a garage, that we wanted to put a nice impact window just to have more visibility towards the building and the inside. So we did that. We would like for the board to take into consideration, but first of all, we'll have to spend 10,000-15,000, he would, to put a sidewalk. The sidewalk is gonna give you 4 to 6 inches more than if you bring it in scooters or bicycles. Now you had a ramp there that's there now, why take it away? And I don't want to take away the option that it's the actual new structure, the original structure of the building. And who knows, maybe in the future, I might want to put a garage, or he might want to put a garage back. So we don't want to take that option away. We would love if you would take that into consideration, please.
Have you read through all of the conditions of approval?
I remember that one that he brought to my attention, my assistant also told me, and something about building like something to cover the garbage cans. I believe the day that they did the inspection, the tenant that was there, it had like, I don't know why she had so many garbage cans, like 6 of them. But she would keep them inside the building and then bring them out the day that the garbage would come by. And basically she had like 3 huge bins, the yellow ones, I think it's plastic or cardboard, and she had 3 huge ones for plastic. So I have my assistant call the city and say, now I'm left with all these garbage cans, we don't need them. So we only have the little small ones, yellow and blue one, and 2 garbage cans. So I did put them, and I think my assistant sent pictures to the staff, showing where the garbage cans are next to the air handlers that are covered by some hedges, so they can't be noticed at all.
Oh, I see them. I see it. Okay.
That's normally where we would keep them before she took over the building, but since she would sell furniture, she had so much delivery with plastic and cardboard, so she had the extra bins that now when she left them, I just returned them.
Question more for staff. On the planning, zoning and landscaping, to discourage the test driving of scooters, when it's a scooter sales facility, why would you, I wouldn't buy a scooter if I didn't get a test drive.
I think the applicant can give us the clarification, like, they're not allowed to do that anyway. I think he can clarify that.
Good evening. So, my name is Marcio. So my address is 19 June Northeast 6th Street in Deerfield Beach, Florida. So, answer his question, DMV, like 5 years ago, was not allow any test drive at all, a scooter, motorcycle at all, no test drive. You can, customer come into my shop, say, I'm not buying, so okay, you're not buying because we don't do test drive. That's illegal, so I don't know if it's illegal. And I do this for 30 years, so I know how they work, so I'm not in trouble.
So in the order it says, those test drive. To avoid test drive. Result was that, on this.
No, then the next, condition number 5 says test driving is prohibited.
Okay.
Regarding the trash enclosure, we did have the opportunity to look at this. We are comfortable with this in lieu of a new enclosure. We would just, staff's recommendation would be to maybe modify the condition so that either that landscape strip is extended or they use a commercial planter. We did speak to building. They did mention that typically air handlers, the manufacturer specification usually requires some type of clearance to not interfere with the airflow, but that's not really a zoning issue. That would be up to them. That doesn't bother them with their AC unit.
If I may speak, please. There were some other hedges there that were much bigger. If you probably saw them in the previous photos when they did the inspection. And I believe zoning, you need to have like a foot away from the wall and anything else around it. So what I did was I got smaller bushes that were fuller and moved them away. So you do have more than a foot between the air handler and the hedges that are there right now.
We meant the cart as well, but. I
Oh, the
understand.
part?
Just for you to keep in mind, look at your maybe the
Right. Yeah,
specifications.
right there, the card is not right next to the handler. There's enough space there.
So because it's not in the historic district, this isn't a historic building, but it looks sort of contributing in parts of it.
Mid-century,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a budding,
The reason I say is because your railing is actually a historic railing, and it doesn't meet the current goal, just so you know.
Thank you for letting me know. I do think the building is historic from what I've heard when it was built.
Right, but I don't think it's part of the district and it's out, so it's not, that's why you're here, because it's not, you did a historic preservation, all right? Now, just so you know, that's it.
Thank you for letting me know that. Appreciate that.
Can the city speak a little bit to the condition of public works that they're asking for some relief from? It looks, is there a reason other than aesthetics? Is there an issue with pervious? Because it says something about the ASI, and what's the guidance for just the aesthetics, or is there?
it was to, and again, we understand DMV does not allow it, reiterating that the. Test driving is not permitted, just gives us some teeth as the city for enforcement. The rationale with that curb cut is for that. And also just to improve that on-street parking, which the business needs for its customers. That was a city perspective on that condition, but I understand they are having objections to that.
And I can respect the cost of tearing up, concrete that's in the public right of way and putting in a DTF curb and everything. If it's an issue to prohibit something that's already illegal, or it doesn't seem like there's enough. If it was an issue that we were saying, well, there's too much impervious in that area, and we put a curb and a sidewalk, and there's something that mentioned the ASI, if there was like a zoning reason to put it in place. Otherwise, I'm comfortable providing that remain to them and when they. There are a lot of places I know that have that little curb cut where they have a garage, and it does make sense that in the future, another business occupation, if they want to put a garage in there, that we don't have to put a curb in.
Thank you.
If there's other questions, I can make a motion. I would make a motion to
Change in condition.
ECE project number 23-005-0001. Staff recommended conditions, accepting that we would remove the public works condition number 1 for the head clerk.
If you will also consider the related condition number 4 under planning and zoning, that's also for the curb cut.
And also condition number 4, which this is information.
And then number three needs to be modified.
And also, number 3, if we can modify that a little bit.
Okay, so condition 3 was with regards to the screening of the solid waste cans. It references a manner of prior approval. Is the landscaping consistent with prior approval, and therefore the replacement of landscaping, is that still? How would you like us to modify that? I understand that the carts need to be screened. It seems like they've already taken some action. That has been.
If you could maybe clarify that that the existing planting area needs to either be extended or replaced with a commercial planter, I think that would be sufficient.
Through a landscape permit.
With a landscape permit.
Okay, so with regards to condition number 3, and condition number 3 is the landscaping in front of there. They're asking that instead of having the land run out and then what looks like kind of you've got a planter and put it there. They're asking for there would be more of a commercial planter box there, or to cut the concrete and extend that planting so that it's not.
We can do that, I understand. There was an option of either cutting the concrete another 2 feet and just putting some dirt. Or a planter, what would be that's a planter, what would be a commercial planter?
The city has standards for commercial planters, which we can share. There's certain dimensional requirements so that you can fit.
Can you email us one? Okay, so the office and we'll buy one.
Yeah,
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
and that would be through a landscape permit that
Okay,
you would apply for.
all right, sounds good. Thank you.
So for the purposes of this motion of maybe either a commercial planter or extending the landscape is appropriate. The applicant will discuss that with staff and then full landscape permit for that. And all of that is to establish a conditional use permit for its scooter sales, use of mixed use Dixie Highway zoning district. Located in 1914 North Dixie Highway based upon the competent substantial evidence provided in staff report and in the testimony of public hearing.
Okay, do I have a second?
I will second.
Okay, vote, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Good.
Good luck.
Board members, thank you so much. Thank you. Everybody have a great evening. Now I'm gonna go and eat. Thank you.
Good one.
Thank you very much. That's my help.
You will be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Okay. We now have item B, which is Hrpb Hrpb 23-003-00001 and that would be 23-01-00001, city initiated small scale future land use map amendment, ordinance 2023-3, zoning map amendment, ordinance 2023-4 on behalf of for the children in West Seaton. Requesting the property located at 1718 South Douglas Street. A corrective FOUM and from public recreation and open space. Failure to the public. And a corrective rezoning of the public recreation and open space. Zoning district to the public. Okay,
Elizabeth, I think you have to read the ordinance titles for both ordinances here.
okay,
I was just looking for them and I hadn't reached them in my packet yet, so I will do that. All right, the first is ordinance number 2023-03 of the city of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, amending the city's comprehensive plan, future land use map through a small scale plan amendment from the future land use designation of public recreation and open space to the public Florida future land use designation on the property generally located at the east side of the South Douglas Street, west of the FEC Railway, south of Latona Avenue and north of Hillbrath Drive at 1718 South Douglas Street, and as more particularly described in Exhibit A, providing that conflicting ordinances are repealed, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. The other ordinance that's part of your packet is ordinance number 2023-04 of the city of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, amending the city's official zoning map from the zoning district of public recreation and open space to public on the properties generally located at the east side of South Douglas Street, west of the FEC Railway, south of Latona Avenue, and north of Hillbrath Drive at 1718 South Douglas Street, and is more particularly described in Exhibit A, providing that conflicting ordinances are repealed, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Again, Abraham Fogel, and I will be presenting this item. This is a city-initiated small-scale future land use map amendment and zoning map amendment. We will be going from public recreation open space to public for both the future land use and the zoning. These maps show the current zoning and future land use, which is public recreation and open space. The reason for this change is that the current zoning does not permit school uses. In a few slides, I will further explain, but there's a proposed expansion of the educational use, which the current zoning would not support. There is a historic school that exists on the site, so we see this as a corrective future land use and zoning amendment. Here we have the proposed zoning and land use maps, which show it changing to public. This aerial shows the view of the historic Osborne School and some of those outdoor recreational uses they have associated with it. Bit of the history on this site. It's listed on the National Register of Historic Places for its role in the history of public education in Lake Worth Beach. In 1917, a 5-block, 10-acre neighborhood in Lake Worth Beach, located west of the FEC Railroad and Dixie Highway, was reserved for African American residents. Although the Osborne neighborhood, as I mentioned, was laid out in 1917, the county had not made any provisions for schools in the area. Up until the 1940s, most of the African-American students in Lake Worth were bused to segregated schools in Delray Beach, nearly 15 miles to the south. In 1947, the Board of Public Instruction authorized the drawings for a new Osborne school. If you're familiar with our historic districts, it was designed by Edgar Wortman, who's a prolific architect in Lake Worth Beach. Once the school opened, it quickly became an epicenter of the community for educational purposes and social life. Many of its teachers were locally trained and educated. The school closed in 1971, but reopened as a Head Start and community education facility in 1980. In 1985, the property was purchased by the city of Lake Worth Beach and then leased to local community groups who operated the school as an after-school training and educational facility. For the Children, Inc. began operating an after-school program in 2000. If you're have interest in knowing more about the history, we can share the national listing form, which has bigger breakdown of this very interesting history on this historic property. The proposed future land use map amendment and zoning map amendments include 2 parcels owned by the city of Lake Beach with a total 4.65 acres. For the Children takes up the majority of that in the larger parcel, which is 4.26 acres. For the Children has secured a grant to expand the facilities to provide additional services to children in the area and to rehabilitate the existing historic structure. In addition to the new facilities, the project will include an interactive educational component focused on the school's history. We'll have an upcoming major site plan, which will likely be coming before you in the next couple months. It is staff's analysis that the future land use map amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan, strategic plan, and provides sufficient levels of service as outlined in the staff report. And as previously mentioned, it reflects the historic use of this property as a school. Regarding the zoning map, staff also finds that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan, strategic plan, land development regulations, and rezoning criteria as outlined in the staff report. Therefore, staff is recommending approval for both the future land use amendment and rezoning. Here we have the potential motions for recommendation to the city commission, and this concludes staff's presentation.
The city still does own the property. Actually, it was incorrect, it should have been publicly given.
So we think there's a history of rezoning in the area that goes back many decades that led to this situation of it's always been a school, but the zoning doesn't match it.
And there was a tax implication as well, with public, as well, which is important for the school and for the city. City's owned, right?
Yes, for the Children, Inc. leases from the city.
The owner is the city, right? So the tax implication is very important for the school, so I would agree with this kind of decision. But it should have been like this before. So it is correct. Any other comments or motion?
Okay, I move to recommend approval of PCP project number 23-003-00001 and 23-013-00001 of the proposed amendments to future land use map and the zoning map based on the data and analysis in the staff report and the testimony at the public hearing.
Have a second. Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Sure, I have it. Any planning issues? Would the public like to say anything? It's like they don't. For the department reports. Board member comments.
We do the presentation.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. City staff, if you don't mind, I believe we discussed last time, getting me a summary and prospectus of the deals. What was it, over a quarter? About it?
Yeah.
Yeah, over a quarter's time, if you, the.
Yeah, we haven't forgotten. We just haven't been able to do it yet.
Totally get it.
Absolutely slammed right now. We've got to pick up of permits and a pickup of smaller administrative applications. So we are full throttle up to our eyeballs in applications right now. But we're gonna put all that together because we have to do that for both you all in the historic district. And when you're scheduled for your item, we'll make sure you have that information prior to that date.
Great, thank you, Aaron. Yeah, because when you get that to me, then I can get started on a small little presentation and then share it with
pertinent stakeholders and go from there. But, you got it. Good luck with the backlog.
All right, anybody else? Okay, so I will move to adjourn the meeting. That was, that's it.